Welcome. You're listening to the best of investing on News Talk 910. You know our show. It's where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. And for those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar having drinks, talking business with you, the audience listening in. Of course, we don't have the drinks this time, but that's okay. And I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm pleased to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Lou Botmal of LPL Financial. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number for the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. You got it. We're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located about 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. And their website is lighthouse4fun.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. And today's trivia theme is candy. I figured, we're a little after Halloween and right after the election.
Abba bars?
No, Abba Dabba is not one of the answers.
I've eaten all my kids' candy already.
I tried stealing last time, but my kid put it on the heater. I'm like, man, come on. On the heater? It started getting cold. What are you doing?
My 11-year-old showed me this great YouTube video that went viral. It was a Jimmy Kimmel skit about parents filming themselves telling their kids the morning after Halloween that, oops, honey, I'm sorry, but I ate all your candy. And it was just hilarious.
Oh, and the kids start crying?
Well, some cried
yeah.
and some...
Yeah.
There was, at the very end, there were some of the cutest responses ever. It's worth watching.
Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to take pillowcases.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
We didn't get home for a long time, and I worked hard for that.
Bring a backhoe, man. Bring a backhoe.
And the trick was to stay out late because you get there, you're knocking at their door at 9:30, 10 o'clock. They're looking up and down the street, going, "There's nobody else here," and they're pouring the thing in your bag. Oh yeah, it was great. That's why I had so many cavities growing up.
All right,
digress.
If you guys want to check us out, we are at bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. You can also record our show in the future with a website called dar.fm, and we're also on television, Comcast Channel 26, noon on Saturdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. And Lou, since Mark and I were kind of unclear as to the concept of fiscal cliff, we figured we would defer to you, the expert.
Right.
We keep hearing that.
So we elect we re-elect the president. The day after, the stock market goes down, and in 2 days it goes down nearly 400 points, and everyone starts screaming fiscal cliff. And what are we talking about here, fiscal cliff?
Well, is that fiscal with a PH or an F?
Physical cliff.
Fiscal.
Fiscal.
So the fiscal cliff has been explained several different ways. I want to keep it simple because people heard things over and over again. They're kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
It's just a phrase, kind of like job creators, stuff, political punchlines we call them. And really, what it is, it's about all the extensions that have occurred over the last, basically 2.5, 3 years. Along with the fiscal cliff, there's actually a bigger problem. That's the debt ceiling debate, which we had last, August of 2011, which sank the investment markets to the tune of almost 20%. But in the interim, really, all you need to know is this: taxes will go up. Okay, taxes will go up on January 1st. Spending will be cut immediately on January 1st by the government. Now, what's the potential impact here? Well, most feel it's about 3.5% of GDP will go negative.
Now, tax rates are going to go up.
Tax rates are going to go up.
That doesn't necessarily mean
Is
taxes
that the
up.
Bush tax cuts expiring?
So the Bush tax cuts expire, which means that the top rate will be back in effect again, potentially 39.6. Income could be, you said it very well, the marginal tax rate, effective tax rate, all those things, but dividends could be taxed as income, right?
Yeah.
Capital gains would go back up to 25% federally, 9.6% for the state of California, where most of our listeners are, and now you're up in those big numbers we had back in the 90s.
Why don't they just tax us 99%? We'll all just wear olive drab green and
and eat soil and grain.
Right. So really, what you're faced with is this thing. The other thing too, tied along with that, is the spending cuts. Defense spending gets cut, I think, $500 billion overnight.
And when was that put in place?
I think it's $500 billion in the next year.
When was that put in place?
What basically happened is last year, Barack Obama played the last 2 years. We said, hey, we'll do this payroll tax cut that'll bring money in the economy. I'm going to extend the estate tax, and actually the estate tax went to zero. Now it's at 3.5 per person. Actually, this year you can give $5 million per person to your family members if you choose to. But
if you have it.
Yeah, good point.
I'm sure hoping I've got family members who want to give that to me.
Yeah, no, but the basic crux of it is the last 2 years they've gotten down to like December, and they go, okay, well the Bush tax cuts expired. They go, well, we'll extend it for one more year.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll extend it for one more year, and then we include the payroll tax cut and all these things in it. And then all of a sudden you're faced with this. Okay, now it's extended. Barack Obama's in office. He's a Democrat. The Congress is Republican based, and the Senate's Democratic based. What are we going to agree on now? Now, coupled with this, which I just alluded to earlier, is the debt ceiling debate. You guys remember 2011? Everyone was talking about we're going to lose our credit rating. We're going to go from AAA to AA.
Yeah.
That's in play again. We have to raise the debt ceiling again, probably, we think, between February and April of next year.
In order to keep the AAA rating.
Actually, we have a AA rating by some people, right?
Right.
America does. So the idea is that we have to pay for things, everything, and we got to stop our spending. We're overspending by about $1 trillion a year as a government right now.
Now, are we at 16 trillion?
We're at 16
the
trillion
ceiling
exactly
right now.
Right.
So they got to raise that.
They have to raise that in order to keep paying Social Security payments, keep paying all the government benefits that people enjoy so much.
Now, I know this is a related but kind of a different question. I've heard a number of economists talk about like a so-called point of no return. What's that? Obviously, maybe it's not obvious. Right now we're at 16 trillion,
Yeah.
but what trillion are we beyond
that's
any
a good
point
point.
of ever getting ourselves
interest
out?
on
I'd say between 19 and 23, I think is the number I'm looking at.
Wow.
But basically, it's about 90. Yeah, once you hit about 92% of GDP, you won't be able to pay it back. No matter, it's like you run a credit card up to the point where your income will never offset the fiscal cliff.
So what are
or
they-
excuse me, the debt
The
ceiling.
debt, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
So what do they do in that
Well, I mean,
situation?
that's why the pressure is to raise the-
Hyperinflation,
Yeah.
collect your
yeah,
paychecks and wheelbarrows and run to the store before.
inflate as much as you can, and then raise as much revenue as you can. The only way they do that is by raising.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily raise income by raising taxes.
True.
Because
If you're in a recession, you won't raise any income.
well, no, but just you get to a point where there are a lot of people who will not work as hard. But, when rates go 70%, as they were in the 70s for personal
78,
service, people. In fact, there was some time when it got up to about 90%.
Right.
If you're like really, really wealthy, people go, you know what? Why should I work that hard? I'm not gonna work for 10 cents on the dollar.
Right. No,
Let the government take care of me.
No, there's a great report. I don't know if everyone went to Bill Moyers did a report. He had these two political science guys on it, and they're talking about since 1990, the richest 1/10 of 1% has had the most wealth increase of any asset, income earner, asset class holder in the last 25 years. So it's not people think they're included because they make over 250. That's not true. Really, where the benefits have been felt the most is for people you mentioned that are extremely wealthy.
Extremely wealthy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone had, I can't remember where I heard this, but what I heard is that since Obama is now in his last hurrah, right, because he can't run after this,
Right.
and you've got Republicans and Democrats kind of sharing Congress, that internally between the Congress people, they may be looking at themselves and going, look, boys and girls, if we want to get nominated 4 years from now,
Or reelected, or
reelected,
whatever.
I'm sorry, that's
You
not
know,
right. Reelected,
nominated for,
we better play nice because, listen, the presidency is up for grabs next year. We don't know if it's going to be Republican, not next
Right,
year,
next
4
time.
years, next time, right? So there may be this theoretical play nice in the sandbox between the Senate and the House.
No, absolutely.
Right.
If someone comes together with a halfway decent proposal, I know healthcare is an extreme change with what they call Obamacare on the Republican side, but healthcare for all. But in the end, if they come together with some way halfway decent, and the Republican says no, we're not going to raise taxes all, period, they can have a problem down the road. So they're like, hey, we have all these economic problems because Republicans wouldn't agree with us. That's really what the risk is now. So that's going to be the challenge in the next couple of weeks. So.
All right, guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break, and before we do, we had a special trivia contest last week.
That's right.
Where the winner won 2 tickets on the Hornblower. And imagine yourself aboard a luxury yacht with your closest friends and family. Indulge in deliciously prepared food and scenic San Francisco Bay views. Hornblower Cruises and Events offer 3 types of dining cruises. a free-flowing champagne brunch, fun and lively supper club cruise, and an elegant 4-course dinner cruise. Fun for all ages. Book now at hornblower.com. And a lot of times they have really good bands on there too. And the food's phenomenal.
So what was that trivia question again?
Okay, that
Special
trivia question was, which blonde's IQ was measured at over 160? Now, a lot of people thought it was Marilyn Monroe, but that was not the case.
No,
It was Jane Mansfield.
Jane
Oh,
And the winner was Jonathan from San Jose. Congratulations.
awesome.
Okay, now, remember the trivia theme this week is candy. And here's our first commercial break. Here's our first trivia question. Name the candy bar where legend has it that it was named after a famous baseball player or the daughter of an American president. The first 3 callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Name the candy bar where legend has it that it was named after a famous baseball player or the daughter of an American president. 888-912-1190. Make sure you include your name, email address, and speak slowly and spell out your information for us one letter at a time. And we'll be right back. You guys know that. I saw the heads going like that.
Baby Ruth. Baby
It
Ruth.
was the president's daughter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Officially,
yeah.
there's
Baby.
it definitely wasn't Babe Ruth, but they say it was for
Baby Ruth.
the daughter of Kennedy. Let's save this.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week listening to John Boehner first say, "Read my lips, no new taxes," doing a Bush Senior impression, and then saying, "Well, everything's on the table." Then he was also quoted as saying about Obamacare, as whether when someone asked him, "Are you still going to go after Obamacare and try to repeal it?" His answer was, "Well, we just reelected the president, and it's his program, so that's the law of the land." Kind of seemed to indicate that. Hang that around his neck.
Justice Roberts thing was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, he had said I thought I liked him, but he pulled that card. He goes, "Yeah, this way, you get a new president, and then you can change something like that, right? Where you can change it." And,
Banking on someone else getting elected.
yeah.
Roberts is the Chief Justice of
Right.
the Supreme Court, but he came out like in the 11th hour and says, "No, I'm going to approve Obamacare."
What was
Turn
that?
it.
And
Yeah,
he gave
was
some
the
kind
swing
of
vote.
backhanded, sort of stupid reason.
Yeah,
You know.
but I think he wanted to show some power because basically they've been voting along party lines so long
Yeah,
that
right.
it's pretty crazy. In fact, they said that was the big thing in Massachusetts. One of Obama's proposals for the Supreme Court, Sotomayor or something like that. The guy Scott Brown voted against her because he's a Republican, and they used that against him in the election. Why didn't you? She's a great jurist. I think she went to Harvard. So everyone from Massachusetts is like, "Oh, she went to Harvard. Oh, she's got to get got to put it in there." And they
look at all the kind of things.
right. But that's how usually justices 9 times out of 10 were approved like by a 90% margin. Now they're starting to play a lot more politics.
Oh,
with
they
this.
are.
Yeah.
Oh, they've been doing that for a while. Okay, guys, what are we gonna?
I want to chat a little bit about the election, the Marin County one. So I've got something I'll start with.
We have a much bigger audience than Marin County, don't we?
You say
Well,
that.
I have a
Say
point
example.
to it. There's a point in why I'm choosing Marin County.
Okay.
There's a point to it,
All right.
as opposed to Alameda County or
San Francisco,
San Francisco, San Francisco.
Brisbane.
What was the percentage of San Francisco? Like 80, 20?
Oh, probably pretty big. They don't like to work over there.
Homo not me.
But you got to buy. We're going to take. I meant the payroll taxes in San Francisco are outrageous.
Oh,
It's like, why would you have your business there?
but didn't we vote to do the California thing, tax corporations? They voted yes on that.
Prop 30, right?
Is that the one that was that? I can't remember which one is which.
I voted no on everything, so I don't remember. No, I did.
What about 32?
Oh, I think I voted yes.
The unions can't use the money for
Yeah,
political.
and that
yeah.
failed, didn't it?
I think it did fail.
What a joke. That's like when
That's all
Saddam
you need.
Hussein, said, "Okay, well, we'll have an election this time." It was like 100 to nothing.
Right.
You know, I mean, he should have at least had a shill in there.
Right. No,
Joe. Okay, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, and we are in the studio here with Mark Hunt from Pacific Private Money and Lou Watmal of LPL Financial. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is candy. Name the candy bar where legend has it that it was named after a famous baseball player or the daughter of an American president. Boys?
Baby Ruth.
Baby
Yeah.
Ruth. Excellent. Yes, and it was not from Babe Ruth. It really was from
Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth. Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
Mark, you've just been chomping at the bit here.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out California politics and figure out this election. So, I live in Marin County, largely because I was born and raised here, and I've stayed here. And it's one of the, considered, I believe, one of the wealthiest counties in the country, certainly in the top 10, I believe.
And most liberal.
And
One of the
well, and
more
that,
liberal. I guess.
I mean, that's the point I'm getting at. Is that there's a lot of people in this county who have a lot of money, and a lot of them are self-made and or business owners, or maybe they're owners of companies in San Francisco, and they like to live across the Golden Gate Bridge in the suburbs, whatever. But I'm looking at the poll results, following the election, and 74% of the Marin County electorate went for Obama. Now,
Because they feel guilty about making all that money.
Really, so I just don't get it. I mean, I've always naturally gravitated toward the Republican Party because I've always worked for either a family business or myself as an entrepreneur, and I already pay an ungodly amount of taxes. Why would I go for? Why would I go with Democrats? What is it about the Democrats? What are they saying to me? They're not saying anything to me. But what are they saying to the 74% of my
Don't worry, we're
cohorts here?
Let's vote for bigger government.
Bigger government
can take care of
bigger government programs, health care for everybody, higher taxes for me, and I don't know. I don't get it. I'm surprised. Lou, any idea what's going on? Why is 75% of the electorate?
Well, Carl. I mean, Mark. I'm sorry.
Carl
That was
Rowe.
yeah, I was just saying.
My
see what that
pseudonym there.
reference was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're winning Ohio. I don't get this. Sorry. Should be screaming. No, those are valid points. I was actually sitting with a potential client who's fairly wealthy and big proponent of democratic causes, worked with a lot of democratic fundraisers. I got to say, I met some of these people on both sides that raise money for political candidates. That's a crazy business. If you ever want to talk about that one day, these guys they're the ones that host the parties. They're the ones that bring the money in. But
Right.
I asked him about why who's more religious, Democrats or Republicans, and he fired off right away saying Republicans. If you remember, Barry Goldwater was anti-religion involved in politics, but this guy was very astute. He goes, the reason why they do that is because they'll pick up 25% of the vote right away. So break your question down into blocks.
Yeah.
So how many evangelical or fundamental religious people are there in Marin County? I don't think there's a ton.
Probably not a lot.
No, the statistic is that 4%
Okay, so
attend any kind of church, and that includes
right.
witchcraft, voodoo,
Yeah, no,
anything.
you look at the
We're worshiping rocks.
You're looking at both coasts. I think that's what you're going to see similarly, New York or along Boston. Then ask yourself this: the female population. I mean, Barack Obama won that by what, 2 or 3 to 1 in some counties, and I think Marin has more female voters than male voters. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, remember, you're still talking about 25% still voted for Romney, so there's not that many people that vote and live in Marin. To Edward's point
Well, it's
earlier.
25% of the people who showed up to vote. So I want
Right,
to make that
exactly,
distinction,
yeah.
not necessarily
Yeah,
of the
that's your point.
population.
Right.
Is it just
So-
that are the Republicans who live in Marin going, well, my vote is meaningless anyway. It's not going to
No,
matter.
what they're doing is
if I
they're saying,
show
you know
up.
what, I am trying to work hard to make a living. I don't have time to
Too
vote.
busy working,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
to pay my
what they should do
taxes.
is at least an absentee.
I got the best one for you. I was out with some friends on Tuesday night, and we wouldn't go home until the election was called. And just to your point, and he goes, and we go,
That was
okay,
fun.
everyone started yelling and screaming. I'm like, okay. They go, okay, Barack Obama went home. We all turned to go, okay, now we can go home. Our wives are at home. They're watching it. We didn't want to watch it. We just sat there and said, hey, let's not get involved in this whole thing because our wives might not be happy with some of our votes. But
I still keep looking in the paper hoping I was wrong, or that it's wrong, and then it'll change.
When
Yes.
you wake up from your
No, I
bad
mean,
dream.
But that's a good point. I mean, some people refer to these as limousine Democrats, people who make gobs of money. The Bay Area is filled with them. Actually, if you look at the fundraising dollars that come through the Bay Area, Bill Clinton was legendary for coming here because there was just so much money being given to his causes, and same with Barack Obama came here quite a few times.
See, they would come here just to raise money,
Yeah.
but they don't spend time here because they know
They don't need to.
Yeah, they know
California's
they
a
got
lot.
In fact, if I were like Obama, one of my speeches to California would be, "Hey, look, guys, I'm only going to be here like for about 10 minutes because I know I've got all of you on, and you guys all want me in the office.
Mhm.
So I'm going to hit those parts where it's sort of teetering, like
Right.
Ohio,
Where those
Yeah.
crazy hillbillies live and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
them to
try
vote
to-
for them.
Yeah, that's what they said in the Wall Street Journal. It was interesting. They said if Romney made a mistake, if any, we're probably getting too political here, but is that during a certain part of the campaign, I don't know if it was like May or June, he was fundraising more than he was going to the swing states because he needed the money. He had spent a lot of his own money. He had to raise either. I wrote down. We could solve a lot of fiscal problems, but for the $4 billion that was spent in the election for a $400,000 a year job, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
But the funny thing is, if you think about it, that money, it didn't go into, let's say, Obama's personal bank account, I'm assuming. It went to go spend in the economy somewhere, right?
Right. No, the good news
The
is
media,
it does
it
yeah, no.
doesn't get flushed out.
There's a trickle down theory,
There you go.
or effect, I should say, of that money getting spent. So
No,
that's a good thing.
I talked to a news director who I know here in the Bay Area for one of the stations, and he mentioned that this is the easiest year they have as an election year because they get so much revenue from the advertising resources, whether it's Measure A, Marin County, or Prop 30 or whatever.
Yeah, but the stations, though, as I understand it, have to give free time.
A certain amount.
A certain amount.
Yeah, but a chunk of it's paid. The ones you saw frequently were paid for. Put it that way.
Yeah,
The ones you saw randomly every once in a while.
I'm just thoroughly glad it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Robocalls and all that stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the net result is, corporations can't do anything until they know what taxes are going to be. And right now, corporations have more money than they've had probably in the last 50 years on their balance sheets.
Well, the interesting
Cash,
thing is, like,
that you mean.
Cash.
yeah, well,
Cash.
look at that.
Cash,
What's
yes.
that? Prop 37. I thought that would like overwhelmingly pass the GMO
Yeah.
type thing, but apparently, I guess it was in the last 6 weeks. The Monsanto and all the
Right,
other companies
right.
spent so much money. I don't want to say confusing people, but trying to let people know, look, this isn't exactly what you think it is. That there's exceptions and there's this, that, and the other thing. Because you'd think everyone should have a right to know, and what's in their food. And then some people were saying, oh well, yeah, but if it was going to cost $400 more, blah blah blah. It's like, wait a minute, people are already voting taxes like crazy. That Measure A in Marin was $75.25 for what, open space and parks? Tax me some more?
We already have
Yeah.
90% of the land in Marin County is open space.
Is that a percentage?
There's your Obama answer right there, right?
Wow, yeah, exactly.
That's like the pot vote in Colorado and Washington. They said, oh, it was heavily Obama favored because everyone's voting for pot as well. For marijuana
Yeah.
in the States.
And so now in California, we've got the Democrats hold a super majority, and so I'm wondering, if they don't figure out how to get California back on a financially stable footing, will the voting population of California hold the Democrat Party accountable
No,
for
we'll
that?
still blame conservatives.
Or are we
and
just going to
Republicans.
just
We're
knee-jerk elect Democrats over and over and over again
Yeah.
as we flush ourselves down the
and we'll just all be at the beach and expect everyone to pay for us.
What's
Right.
crazy on the investment side is municipal bonds in the state of California rallied on Wednesday when Prop 30 was passed. Imagine that. Prop 30 was the educational,
Yeah.
The Jerry Brown back.
Right, that raises
So
taxes.
munis rallied on California munis specifically rallied on Wednesday because of that decision.
Wow.
So because they knew there was going to be a shortfall any longer. So pretty amazing stuff. And I
Very cool.
gotta tell you, I'm not for that. Well, I shouldn't say
Yeah.
I'm a little frustrated with some of the outcomes.
Yeah,
I'll
Oh,
go
I
on
see
the
what
record as saying I didn't vote to raise my taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Almost always, it's a good idea to vote no on
Right.
taxes because they never go for the right things all the time, and then they
And
oh, it's
most,
only
and most
temporary.
tax
Yeah, it's never
increases
temporary.
do not accomplish what they set
No, of
out
course not.
to accomplish.
Okay, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break here, and the second commercial break trivia question we're going to get to in just a minute. But guess what, guys? Next week we're going to have another
special.
Oh man,
trivia.
we're getting all kinds of great trivia.
What's the prize on this
Okay,
one?
the prize on this one is, get this. This one is in Marin County. It's the Water's Edge Hotel in Sausalito.
Oh, that's a nice
Actually,
one.
it's in Tiburon.
Tiburon, yeah.
Okay. So here, listen to this. Romance awaits. Situated in Tiburon over San Francisco Bay, Water's Edge Hotel sports world-class views of Angel Island, the Bay, and San Francisco. This highly acclaimed 23-room boutique hotel offers delivered breakfast, in-room fireplaces, and Duxiana beds. Those are expensive.
Oh my God, a duck's bed.
Yeah, man, gotta check that out. Visit watersedgehotel.com. And here is the second commercial break trivia question. Again, the theme is candy. Which candy is usually sold in rolls, known for their holes, and has many flavors and a distinctive shape? The first three callers with the correct answer win a free. Mark's gonna get the eyebrows going on that one. The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website, again, is lighthouseforfun.com. Check them out. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Which candy is usually sold in rolls, known for their holes, and has many flavors and distinct shape? Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your email for us one letter at a time, and we'll be right back.
Lifesavers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, that's what I was thinking, but it just seemed like
it's a little. Yeah, it's not quite as easy. Okay, want to get into email time?
Yes.
Okay. Now that we got our election stuff out
Our
of
Dennis Miller
Okay, part
rant
of
out
it.
of the way.
Well, we do a daily call with our company, and it went on, I think, for an hour and 15 minutes. Usually goes on for about 35.
Just people lamenting.
Pete was just talking about, I mean, the questions coming up, like, okay. You know, like the big thing, they said if Ron was elected, coal was going to rally big time. And they, so that trade was off. It was really, I mean, they were pretty convinced. You can tell by the market energy that they were pretty convinced Romney was going to win it going.
I think he would have made a great.
I
think now an effective leader, who the heck knows?
Yeah,
But I think as a figurehead and a guy who would simply rally for entrepreneurialism and lower taxes.
that part you could be good.
And I just
Well, I
it
think
scares me what's going to happen.
I was out with a guy from Bain Capital a couple weeks ago who worked at Bain Capital, and now he works with Steve Young's firm down in the Silicon Valley. And pretty interesting guy. But he says when he was at Bain Capital, he goes the problem with Mitt Romney when he ran for governor, and now is that his personality does not translate. You talk about what's likable about Barack Obama. He sits there and sings Al Green. He does plays basketball and stuff.
Yeah.
And Romney drives a jet ski and buys his wife a new Cadillac every year. It's kind of like
Yeah.
the vibe. He goes, but Mitt Romney, he goes, when I was working at Bain, this one guy, they're all Mormon back there.
Yeah.
And one guy's daughter is missing. I think she was 18. They couldn't report her missing. So he shut down Bain Capital. He's like, everyone hit the streets. You guys go where last known address. You call her friend. He conducted his own search and rescue operation from Bain Capital. The guy goes, unheard of. Because these are all guys that are making $500,000 a year at the time.
Yeah.
Back in like 1993 or whatever. It's like, everyone get out of here and go find her. She unfortunately had drank and got lost and ended up somewhere. So it was they found her though. But it was, he goes, that's the kind of guy he is. He goes, the countless people he's helped out financially. Because people who were down and out, and Mitt was writing them checks. He goes,
Really?
all the time. He goes, but it never translated. You don't look at him and say, he's that kind of guy.
Good thing I forgot to turn this off. Edward Brown here. That's me.
Trivia question.
Hi. You know what? I am recording my show now. What's your name again? I'll have to call you back. Okay. Are you new with them? Oh, okay. Oh no. No, emailing is fine. Yeah, PDF is fine. Yeah. So you got my email address? ebrown1111. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So are you going to be sending those right away? Yes. Actually, send them to both. Oh, thank you so much.
The other thing is
Okay.
watching all those flaming liberals and media, Hollywood types, they were just so happy that Obama was reelected. And
Yeah.
the reasoning for hating the Republican Party is just so asinine. it's like, oh, they're gonna put, they're gonna reinstate black slavery, and they're gonna outlaw abortions, and women will go,
And they get rid of the national endowment for
they'll
the
reinforce the
Yeah.
glass ceiling, and just all the stuff that's going to happen to everybody. Oh, they're going to deport all the illegal aliens, and if you're Mexican,
Get
they're
rid
going to
of
send you back to
Big Bird,
Mexico.
man. No,
Just like all this
so
stuff.
the Mexican ones that was also, I guess, during the primary process, he had to
Right.
distinguish himself from everyone else. He goes, "I'm not for illegal immigration,"
Right.
and everyone goes, "That's what buried him." He goes, "If you want to look back and say,
80% of the Latino vote went Obama.
yeah," he
Oh,
goes,
yeah.
"You said that, and you said 47% of the people live on government assistance," and he goes, "You're."
But how many illegals are allowed to vote?
Well, look, you talk to people, and they all have family. They all, they're still going back and forth. Yeah, I thought the same thing, but I can think off the top of my head 30 people that are, his descent from San Salvador.
The thing
or
is,
wherever.
I gotta feel for these people because I'm fortunate enough to have been born here and
Right.
live here. And the thing is, part of me says, well, then go through the process and but it's like, okay, so how long does it take? 10 years or something?
Right.
It's like, gosh, that's kind of. I don't know the answer.
Well, on everyone's
And if
side though, everyone always says this: if Romney's elected, I'm going to move out of the country, and other people say it, if Obama's, I'm going to move out of the country. Go try to move to another country and get a job. It's freaking
Oh
impossible.
yeah.
You want to go to England, you better have a job ahead of time.
Oh, yeah,
Australia will never happen.
Yeah, Christian is in New Zealand, and
Yeah.
he says I'm not allowed to get a job.
Right? No, it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's they don't want you. You have to have some big connection to get a job.
Okay.
So because their economies are hurting so bad.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, at least if you're productive. That's why. I mean, I don't really like to see a bunch of these guys on the street. It's kind of annoying.
Go
Right.
pick a
But-
grape.
this is pot season. We're starting to pick pot now.
You're a little feisty today, there, Mr. Hunt.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
We talked to his tax advisor this week.
Okay, ready? Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my famous co-host, Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing private lender, and Lou Botmal of LPL Financial, America's favorite financial advisor. There you go. I like that. Okay, when we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is candy. Which candy is usually sold in rolls, known for their holes, and has many flavors and a distinctive shape?
I think it's Lifesavers.
It is Lifesavers. That's a pretty distinctive shape.
Do they spark at night? The wintergreen Lifesavers.
Oh, that's right. No, they do.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I've
they
proven
spark
that
at
one. You turn the lights off and you crunch them, you chew on them with your teeth, and they create little sparks.
Yeah.
night? Is that
It's
right?
it's pretty cool.
I gotta
saw
go
that
and buy
once
some
too.
now.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, now that we have got Mark Hunt off the ceiling from the election.
Yeah, we had our Dennis Miller rant for the
The
last
fiscal cliff.
Fiscal
We didn't talk about any Roman gods though. Come on.
No, but we will talk a little business. So, Mark, we actually have an email for you, and it says, with the election over and another 4 years of you know who, I guess this guy's not a Obama supporter.
He's a Mark fan.
He's a Mark
Alto
fan.
fan,
That's
Alto
right.
fan.
He definitely is. Is investing in trust deeds a prudent move for the next 4 years? That's a pretty good question.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's I like that one. Well, the good news is that investing in trust deed secured notes, and I'll explain a little bit more what that means in a moment, is really not so much dependent on the political landscape, and not even so much on the tax landscape as much as it is really dependent on what you believe is happening in real estate. Because what you're talking about is funding a loan, and the loans we do at Pacific Private Money are to real estate investors. And so those clients of ours that provide funds that invest their funds, invest their savings, or invest their IRA monies into these trust deed secured notes, they're doing so with the knowledge that these loans are secured and insured. So they're secured by the recording of a deed of trust, as it's called. That's why it's called trust deed investing. Recording the deed of trust against the property for the amount of the loan, and it's insured with title insurance and hazard insurance.
So it doesn't really matter, Republican or Democrat who gets in, because we're not talking about policies per se. We're
Right.
talking about whether the real estate is going to be
Right.
worth what you're
So-
planning on.
Right, so it's really a comes down to real estate market stability. So if you're one who believes that the air's been let out of the tire with respect to the real estate industry, that we've had a correction and we've seen the bottom of that correction. If you believe that, and I do, I believe the real estate bottom occurred exactly a year ago in the fourth quarter of 2011. And in 2012, we've seen a stabilization and, in fact, a slight increase, lest I say appreciation, that word we haven't heard very much for the last 5 years, in real estate. In fact, San Francisco, I believe, is up 5%, the real estate market. So if you believe that there is stability in the real estate market and you make a loan at, say, no more than 65 to 70% of today's value on that real estate, then you've got an investment that's paying you 8% or more on your invested funds, and it's secured with protective equity. That's the difference between the amount you loan and the market value of the real estate. So I think there's never been a better time than right now to invest in trustee secured notes, because I believe we do have once again, a stable real estate market. Could real estate go down again in the near future? Sure, it could. Things can happen, but I would believe that if something were to happen that caused the real estate market to go down again in the near future, that just about anything else you could think of investing in, maybe other than gold, would also probably head the same southerly direction.
Head south too.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, for people who are listening, they're not investing in a fund. They're actually investing in a specific deed of trust, so they know exactly what they're getting, right?
Right. There are two ways to invest in high-yielding trustee secured notes. One is by investing in that individual note, and we do a lot of those. Another one is investing in a mortgage pool or mortgage fund, and there are pros and cons to both of those. But presently, right now at Pacific Private Money, we're mostly originating individual loans and putting an investor's money in that individual note, so that if John Smith provides the money for that loan, John Smith's name is on the loan as the lender, just like Wells Fargo or B of A would be on the name as the lender if you went to the bank. So John Smith makes the loan, their name is on the note, their name is on the deed of trust, their name is on the hazard insurance. So again, it's secured and insured. So they're protected, right? In a mortgage fund, the name of the fund is on the loan. One of the benefits of investing in a fund, of course, is that your money is working for you all the time. You don't have to worry about getting paid off in 3 months or 6 months or 8 months, and then have your money sitting earning nothing in a bank account again as you're trying to figure out, can I find another loan to invest in? So there's pros and cons to both, and people have different appetites, and I'm happy to discuss that in greater detail if anybody wants to call.
Yeah, how do people get a hold of you? Because with the election over and people still trying to figure out what to do with their money, where they can earn a decent rate of return, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to go to our website at pacificprivatemoney.com, or you can also go to thebestinvesting.com, or simply call us. We have a 415 area code number, 415-883-2150. That's 415-883-2150. I know it's Saturday. You'll get the machine answering, but leave your name and number, and I'll be happy to get back with you next week and provide more information for you.
All right, thank you, sir. And Lou, we had received an email from someone who also, again, with the election that just occurred, says, with the fiscal cliff, which we were talking about, looming, where do you think is the best place to invest for those of us close to retirement age?
That's a good question. The fiscal cliff, of course, again, for everyone listening, is spending going down and taxes potentially going up across several levels, those being dividend, capital gains taxes, more likely we'll lose the payroll tax incentive we have right now, and a few other things. So with that in mind, where should we put our money? And I go back to that famous person in California history. I think his name was Jesse James. And Jesse James always says, go where the money. I rob the banks because that's where the money is.
That was Dillinger.
Is that Dillinger?
Yeah.
I rob the banks because that's where
Jesse James robbed the trains.
The trains, okay. I'm getting my gun history mixed up. Smith & Wesson's going to call me pretty soon. So, but the idea here is, I I wouldn't. I'm not saying invest in banks per se, but what I am saying is, who has the most money right now? And the answer is corporations. So with that, you want to find people that are doing buybacks. These are corporations that go out there and buy
Treasury
stock.
stock, as they call it.
Right. Yeah. Essentially, they go out there and say, hey, look, nothing's really happening with our stock. We're not paying a huge dividend. We don't want to do much more, but we're going to buy our own stock back. That'll help support the stock price. It'll also help with less shares out there. Hopefully, eventually, potentially increase the stock value.
Well, when I've always heard about what corporations doing that, they're looking around where to invest their money, and they go, what better place to invest in our company?
Right. Well, if you're getting a 3.5% dividend, compared to a 10-year treasury right now, that is with 1.72, 1.78 this week. Why not put your money there and go? Well, I know I'm going to make my next dividend payment. You know what? I know I'm going to make the next one after that, after that, and after that. And that's really what's happening here. Imagine this. Imagine an airport where everyone's trying to land, and the airport's all filled up with planes, like we saw here with Hurricane Sandy in San Francisco. Or you see that site where they had no place to put the planes any longer. That's really what's going on in the investment markets. All the planes are right there in corporation land, and they have all the money and all the gasoline to fill up all the planes, and they can let them take off. But they're not going to do it until they know what the new tax regulations are going to be. That's really what's going to stimulate this economy. So we're really circling the airport right now, waiting for something to happen, and nothing's going to happen until we know the tax impact of 2013.
Which is going to be January 1st, or when?
Well, we hope it's not a Band-Aid solution saying, okay, this is effective till, June of next year or whatever it might be. Because remember, they did that with the estate tax. They sat there for a whole year. They didn't decide anything until December. And people are like, well, how should I file my estate tax return? Well, we don't really know yet. We have these different ideas. So, we don't want to see that happen. What we want to hear is this is what our tax regulations are going to be. This is what they're going to be for 3, 5, or 7 years. That'll give corporations all the latitude they need to start making decisions to acquire companies, to sell off unprofitable divisions, to really make some activity happen. That's what we need to stimulate. Absent of that, what should I do? I go back to my old thing. Probably some municipal bond investments, although those are very expensive right now. Maybe some other corporate debt might be a good idea. I've been buying corporate debt for clients.
It sounds like you're still focused on income.
Well, a little bit right now. Everyone says that's going to sunset at some point. And sure, when interest rates start going up, that's going to change. But right now, that's potentially a year and a half or 2 years away at the earliest. I will say this about the markets, which is, rather challenging, as it always is. That's why it's a risky play for some people. If they get through and they figure everything out and say, okay, these are what our tax rates are going to be, and this is how we're going to pay down the debt, and we're not going to build up over the debt ceiling next year. This is how we're going to do it. The market might skyrocket a little bit. By skyrocket, it might go up 100 points in the S&P. It might go up 350 points on the Dow. Again, if the inverse happens, it could go down the other way. That's really what we're up against right now. These decisions are so impactful on every single decision individuals make and corporations make that's where the money's going to start traveling around. So back to the airport example, we're all circling, waiting to land. We have nowhere to go right now. Investment corporations buy their debt, buy their dividend-producing stocks. Even though dividend taxes could go up, I'm thinking they might go up to 20.
I'm guessing that there's probably a few that you favor, specific stocks or
right, or an asset class or something like that. Yeah.
So if people were interested in getting that information from you, how would they get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah. The best thing, give me a call, 415-256-8970. Again, 415-256-8970. Or you can email me, LOUIS, and there's a period there. B as a boy, ATMALE @LPL.com. And love talking to everybody.
Very good. Okay, we're going to cut to our third and final commercial break, and here's a trivia question. Again, the theme is candy. Name the small, round fruit chews that have a hard candy shell and have a letter S printed on the outside of each candy. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. I love this candy, by the way. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Name the small, round fruit chews that have a hard candy shell and have a letter S printed on the outside of each candy. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and remember to speak slowly and spell out your email for us one letter at a time. And we'll be right back. I'm getting hungry for that candy right now.
That was the best line in the Hangover. hey, there's Skittles in there.
That
was the
You
best.
got it.
The best one ever is, so I don't have my phone with me. I got an email this week on Tuesday from this family friend of ours, and it's a picture. It's a short caption about this woman who died in 1988, who raised 9 Catholic kids in Chicago, and she goes, this woman worked 2 jobs because her husband died in 1967 when her youngest of 9 children were born, and she always took a vacation day to work the election polls.
Oh.
And because of her dedication and what she did, you should go out and vote. And the picture at the bottom of the kids, it's Bill Murray's family. Bill Murray's mother.
The comedian Bill
The
Murray?
committee, yeah, it was freaking wild. So I called the, I saw the woman later on because we have kids in the same class. I'm like, where'd you get the email from? She goes, Joel Murray is one of my brother's best friends. They went to high school together. You know, all the time. She goes,
He's got like 5 brothers, right?
right. He goes, I'll tell you a funny story. She goes, Caddyshack, real people. I said, come on. He goes, no, they were all those guys were caddies at this not exclusive club, but semi-exclusive club in Chicago. She goes, the Haverkamps, actual person. The pastor, the judge, a real person.
You know,
They didn't act like that.
I've only seen bits and pieces of the movie.
Oh, you gotta.
I can't stand Bill Murray.
Oh man, well,
I like Rodney Dangerfield.
you know, they're both funny, but Bill Murray's brother's in it. You saw Caddyshack, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the mustache who runs the Caddyshack. That's his brother. He's also in like vacation movies, and he's pretty reputable in his own. Yeah, he's on a TV show now, but it's just kind of funny. Like you're like, that was Bill Murray's mom and his little sister, a nun. Figure that one out. Catholic nun.
Okay, we got 7 minutes and 28 seconds. Anything you guys want to cover specifically?
Did you guys read the article today about everyone buying cash for homes and financing later on? Do you guys know much about that?
No.
It was on, I think it was on SF Gate or something like that. But they said most of these, you know, it's trending now. Where in order to get the house, they're making all cash offers. They have the cash.
Oh, let's
they buy
talk
the
about
home,
that. Yeah.
and then they come back in and they refinance it later on. And the banks are doing essentially the same deal, but it's an incentive to buy it. And then sometimes they take the cash out, and they
don't give me as high a rate, LTV coming out though. Usually.
right.
But
But
yeah,
These
yeah,
people
I know
don't
why
get
that is. And let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
good.
kind of interesting thing because
Okay.
the trend started in Silicon Valley and it's kind of reached over to Danville now and other areas. They said they're seeing a lot of it.
Well, probably because there's a lot of competition for the house, and they want to make sure they get. Okay,
That's
good.
exactly right. It's unfortunate for the people out there who are qualified bank buyers. It limits the properties that they can buy.
Yeah, because also, financing contingencies is something that doesn't work too well. Okay, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff of Pacific Private Money and Lou Botmall of LPL Financial. When we cut to the third commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Name the small round fruit chews that have a hard candy shell and have a letter S printed on the outside of each candy. Lou, you know the answer to that.
Is Alan's favorite candy from Hangover? It's Skittles.
Skittles, that is correct. I should have had
That's right.
something like you said from Abba Zaba or Clark Bar or O. Henry or
Oh,
the ones that you hardly ever kind of see anymore.
Payday Bar, yeah, so
Payday, I
100
like
grand.
those, yeah.
Reggie Bar. Reggie Bars were big.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, remember the Reggie Bars?
Those
Those
are
are
Still
awesome.
get
awesome.
those?
I
My
don't know.
favorite was Star Bar. It was only out for about a summer, and it was excellent back in the early 70s.
Oh, whatchamacallit? Sorry.
No, those are good too. Okay, Lou, you had read something kind of interesting.
Right, I think it was on SF Gate this week, and they talked about the competition now for real estate. We've heard about this, like Mark mentioned. He saw the bottom of the real estate conditions a little while ago, but really, with the advent of Facebook IPO here in the Bay Area, and these, as we talked before, these buses going through the city now and other places to go to jobs in Silicon Valley, they're seeing this burst of all cash buyers for homes that buy a home and then finance it later on.
Is it mostly because they want to make sure they get the house?
Pretty much, it's the idea is that I come in with cash and we can close in 30 days, and people are like, I'm going for it. Let's go.
Or quicker, because that's really when you're in a market of multiple offers, it's the easiest to close offer that the seller's going to accept. If the seller's a bank and you've got a no or low contingency quick close, 14-day, 21-day, that's a lot more appealing than someone coming in a first time or a new time home buyer that needs,
Either
major financing.
or says, I got to sell these other 2 houses before we can close on this. What do you think?
Yeah.
And one of
Because
us land in Iowa.
Because bank financed transactions now are taking 45 to 60 days to close. And I know this personally because, my little group is selling a few homes that we purchased and have remodeled. And I'm not really excited when I put that on the market about selling it to someone who needs 45 to 60 days to close. If someone can come in with a quick all-cash offer and close in 2 or 3 weeks, I like that.
What's the difference, you think, in the price between the all-cash offer and someone who says, "Oh, give me 45 or 60 days"?
Well, that is true. Generally speaking, you would expect to get a higher price from a financed contingency offer. But in this market where inventory is so low, that differential is actually pretty small.
Pretty small.
It's narrowing
And
to the point of being almost insignificant.
Now, is the inventory low because there's still a bunch of banks sitting on foreclosures, or is it just people are saying, "I don't want to sell in today's market until the price goes up"? What are you finding?
Well, I think the inventory is low for both of those reasons. Well, number one, foreclosure activity among banks is basically at a record low over the last 5 years, and it just plummeted again last month, according to the September reports that came out a couple weeks back. And so there is just very little new foreclosure activity going on since this whole real estate fiasco has first started in 2007. So you've got less foreclosure activity. That doesn't mean you don't have a lot of non-performing so-called shadow inventory issues out there. You do. You've got people underwater. You've got people living in a home that they're not making their mortgage payment on for 2, 3, 4 years now,
Really?
and not being
That
foreclosed.
long?
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. Not necessarily in the state of California, but if you're looking nationwide. And so you've got bank foreclosure activity down, and then you've got people who would sell but can't because they're current on their mortgage, but their mortgage is higher than the value of their home. So you have people. So the normal flow of real estate is not occurring. The normal turnover is not happening. So that combination of lack of foreclosure and people who want to sell and who would normally sell can't sell.
And they don't want to go through a short sale. They don't
Right.
want to affect their credit.
Well, that's
or anything.
right. They don't want to impact the credit. So you've got that combination has created a low inventory, and you compound that then with a public that believes that we've seen the bottom and that real estate is a good buy now. So you've got more people coming into the market literally every month. So multiple offers are almost the rule now on real estate that's put on the market.
That's changed quite a bit. A couple of years ago,
Right.
You put something on the market and you maybe get one offer in a couple of months. I mean, it was pretty scary.
Yeah, so if you're someone who has the down payment and can qualify for bank financing, more than likely you're really frustrated right now because you're going out there and you're putting fair market bids out there on property at or maybe slightly above the asking price, and then you're getting beat out by all cash offers above you. And so that's hard to
That's really
compete with.
sad.
It is sad.
How hard is it to do a back end loan like that though? Would you own a home to sit there and go give them a financing? Is that hard to do, or I wonder?
Well, I don't think they give the same percentage LTV.
Loan to value.
Yeah, because when you come in, what like as an example, like the FHA.
Well, Robert's not here,
Yeah,
our resident
yeah.
expert in mortgages, so I don't
Let's
actually
email
know.
Yeah. Because he was saying that
Get him on the phone.
you can get as little as like 3% down, and then do 97%. But
Mhm.
try to do that after you pay all cash for a deal, they're not going to do that.
No, they have no
Maybe
incentive to.
get what 70%.
Well, I mean, as an investment person, I'm sitting there going, look at all these banks that have you're getting 3% on these investments or 3.5%. That's not good long term. If we get back up to a 5% or 6% interest rate environment in the next 5 or 7 years, that
Well,
paper's
they
still
just
going to be
push it-
there.
They just push it on to somebody else.
Well, that was the reason why eventually the banks were successful in getting the law overturned that allowed home sellers or home buyers to assume the existing loan, because back in the in the 70s and early 80s you were able to buy a home and assume the loan, and on those then low interest rates of 5% on the
Wow.
home, when
Yeah,
interest rates were 12.
I don't like it anymore.
That's going to come back again.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me in the studio here. Our thoughts for the day. A recent study at Harvard has shown that eating chocolate can actually help you live longer. You gotta love that school, I know. No wonder they get so much in donations. I'm sending my check today. And apparently Thomas Edison was afraid of the dark. No wonder he had to invent the light bulb. Tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. Eeks.